Anyone find that person? All right. Brandon, I'm sorry. She doesn't like you anymore. How's it going, everyone? I'm Christopher Sabat. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I flew all the way here. It took almost 8 hours to get here yesterday. How many of you guys were waiting in that ridiculous line yesterday? Yeah. I'm so sorry. Now, I know that they put something about that I was delayed because of a flight or something like that, but there's actually a deeper story to it. And let me explain it to you. This is one of the craziest things that's happened to me at an airport ever. So I'm waiting for my flight. I've got my backpack sitting next to me and my carry-on. My backpack has all my valuable stuff in it, and my carry-on is just filled with like 18 pairs of underwear, because you never know. Because I'm gonna be here a whole night. So I do a lot of costume changes. Anyhow, they call my flight. I go to grab my bag, my backpack, and it's gone. Wow, the music stopped and everything. My backpack is gone, it's completely gone. And I'm freaking out because it's got like my iPad in there, it's got a couple extra pairs of underwear in there in case I run out of the other 18 pairs. I've got this, like everything that I consider valuable, medication, money, adapters, a lot of expensive stuff's in there, and it's gone. And the flight's boarding, and I'm freaking out. So I have to try and retrace all my steps. I gotta go back to where like the place I ate breakfast. I went back to security. I went everywhere trying to find this stupid bag. And they're like, we gotta board the plane. And I say, I can't get on the plane without finding this bag at least, or at least figuring something out. So I'm scrambling around. The people at the gate are trying to help me, and all hope is lost. I've lost the bag. It sucks. Aww. And then, someone from the gate right next to me runs over, and he's got my bag. I'm like, what the heck? He goes, somebody took your bag by mistake, boarded a plane in the next gate over, and then realized once I got on the plane that they had my backpack, but they wouldn't let the person off the plane, because once you get on a plane, you're stuck there. And so there was this whole like, how are we gonna get the bag off of the plane? So they literally opened the door to the other plane, get someone to run it out, and by that point I'd missed my flight. So I got the joy of actually taking a different flight to Houston and then to here, which is what took all day. So I'm sorry it took me so long to get here. But I have my bag now, don't worry. At least you guys got to wait 4 hours. That was awesome, wasn't it? You probably got to make new friends in line, right?
Right here!
Anyhow, so here's the deal. I started working in anime in 1998. I got a call from a friend of mine who was working for this tiny little company called Funimation. At the time, Funimation Productions had only 4 employees or something like that. They had one dude named Byron, and they had a girl named Carly, and then they had Gen Fukunaga, and they had Barry Watson, just like a handful of people. And they said, hey, we're having auditions for this little, Japanese cartoon. I'm like, all right, I've seen Ghost in the Shell, I've seen Akira, I've seen pretty much everything, because I'd only seen 2. And I was like, I'm ready for this. So I go audition, and I'm lucky enough to get 2 roles. I get the role of Yamcha and the role of Igor in this show called Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. It was like a Dragon Ball made for TV like direct-to-video movie. And once that happened, they recorded me at their offices, which they didn't have any money back then because Dragon Ball Z was not a success in America. So they were basically recording me on a toaster that was plugged into a refrigerator, that was plugged into like somebody writing something down, that was plugged into a monkey that was just like screaming, and it was like the most generic, basic, crappy setup of all time. And after we recorded it, they said, hey, this was just a test to see if we could dub this here, because what we'd like to do is dub Dragon Ball Z here in the United States, and would you like to come on board and help us cast it and direct it and stuff like that? So I did, and we had these giant auditions. We called in thousands of people, except, again, Funimation didn't have any money. They were just a tiny little company. They didn't have the money to afford like super expensive payments for actors or anything like that. They were hardly able to pay actors at all. So all the agencies in town that had all the big actors and stuff like that, they're like, no, we're not we're not going to be involved in that. So I had to go to schools, I had to go to acting classes, I had to go to universities and put out flyers, and I put an ad in the paper. And we had this giant audition that had all of this cattle call audition to try and find the cast of Dragon Ball Z. And that's where we found the majority of our main people. That's where we found Sean Schemmel, who's the voice of Goku. His face is right there, and he's coming to your Comic-Con this summer or something like that. You have to go back and meet him because he is crazy, and you'll love him. He's absolutely nutty and insane and hysterical.
I love him.
You'll dig him. Anyway, that's where we found him. We found Sonny Strait, the voice of Krillin.
Yes!
We found our Bulma, we found Chi-Chi, we found everybody. But it was really hard because these were not, most of the people that get cast in the original Dragon Ball weren't necessarily like full-time working actors. Like the original voice of Chaozu worked at a library at the university. Let's see, and luckily enough we found Eric Vale, who plays Trunks, and he was a struggling actor, but he was actually delivering pizzas at the time when we found him. And a funny story is when we were looking for Trunks, because he's supposed, you know in the Dragon Ball Z series, when Trunks shows up, it's a big deal in the series, because it's not like all the other people in Dragon Ball, especially the villains, where they show up and they're just like brooding and quiet and don't say much for a while and then they become a character over time. Trunks just comes in and immediately kills Frieza. Sorry, spoilers, but if you haven't seen that, you're retarded. So Trunks immediately had to be as badass as Goku or Vegeta or any of the characters. So we were desperately trying to find someone. And we had all these people auditioning for Trunks, trying to find someone, and I just couldn't find anybody I liked. But then I remembered that there was this one guy who had auditioned for us before that I was like, oh, he'd actually be a great voice of Trunks, but I couldn't remember who he was. All I remembered is he has this headshot that he brought in with him, and he was this blonde guy, and I could not think of it. I think his name was Eric, and believe it or not, somebody said, hey, wait, I think I know who you're talking about. His name is Eric Vale, and he works at a pizza place in Denton, and I know him because I go to a bar across the street from that. And sure enough, she called him, he came in, it was the right guy. Do you know who the person was? It was the voice of Bulma that knew who Trunks was. Is that the weirdest thing ever? Like, Bulma helped Vegeta find Trunks for the series. Like, how strange is that?
Ain't that weird?
Anyhow, so we recorded the series back in like 1998 and 99, and we just recorded the crap out of it because we were rushing to get it on TV. And it was a very difficult process because we didn't have very good equipment. And in fact, we didn't even have the original Japanese tapes because it was taking too long to get them from Japan. They were being shipped very slowly by boat or something. So the only way we could get the materials that we recorded the original Dragon Ball, the only way we could get it fast enough was to get them from the people who did the Mexican dub of Dragon Ball, which I know many of you have seen. So if anyone was like, were you inspired by the Japanese voices when you first were working on Dragon Ball? I'm like, no, because I never heard them. All I heard was, Goku. I didn't understand any of it. I used to laugh at that they had to change Chi-Chi's name to Milk. Yeah, that name did not work in the Spanish dub for some reason. Anyhow, so we were working really hard to get the show on TV, and it was a very difficult process. Screaming in the booth is as painful as it looks. Like, especially the original Dragon Ball series, because Kai, they shortened it all up, but the original series was like, ah! And then it would cut away and you're like, whoo, take a breath, but then it'd come back and his mouth was still open, ah! It was the worst. The worst thing was to scream as long as you could possibly scream and it not be long enough. That was the worst. Because I directed the Dragon Ball series as well as I was the voice director for the whole series. And I used to tell actors when they would come in to record with me, and I said this to just about all of them. I'm like, all right, here's how it's going to work. You're going to do a scream, and it's going to be a really long time. It's going to be a very, very long scream. And there's two ways we can handle this. You can either scream like crazy, like you mean it, and it hurts, and it's super intense, and it's amazing, or you have to do it 2 times. And that's any scream done twice sucks. So that was my inspiration. That's what I would tell everybody when they would come in to record with me. So I was Vegeta. He was this angry guy with this hemorrhoids problem the whole series. And I imagine he was about this tall. Or at least that's the way he acted.
And then I played this guy named Piccolo. And Piccolo, his main job in the series, it seemed, was just basically to tell Gohan what to do all the time. It was almost like Gohan was his pet. Because he was like, go, Gohan, go, do it. No, stay, Gohan, stay, don't do it.
That's basically how he treated Gohan the whole series. Then there's this guy like Yamcha, and he starts off as an awesome character at the beginning of Dragon Ball, and then by the end of it, he's like a complete tool and a loser. And he's just basically sitting around Chi-Chi's house waiting for Goku to die, it seems. Did you notice that? Like at the end, when Goku's got the heart condition, he's like, come on Goku, don't die, but actually do die, because maybe I could have a chance with Chi-Chi. Even though I'm beginning to wonder, you know, if I hadn't seen Dragon Ball and knew that Chi-Chi was a tiny little girl and Yamcha was older, I would have guessed that Chi-Chi birthed Yamcha, because Yamcha and Gohan look identical to one another, except for the scar on the face. Anyway.
I played most of the Ginyu Force. I played Raccoon. He's this big guy with a really deep voice. And
I played Jace, which is basically Yamcha, except he's got an accent, mate. And when he dies, he goes, "Oi!"
You have to listen for it. That was like my tribute to Australians. Because I think when Australians die, that's what they say too. They go, "Oi, Vegemite!" And then that's it. Have any of you been to Australia before? Okay, good. Don't worry about it.
That's all right.
They're going to go there and it's going to be beautiful, but they're going to try and convince you to eat this stuff called Vegemite. And they're like, oh mate, it's delicious, mate. It's so good. It's like, it's like peanut butter, and it's not like peanut butter at all. It's like peanut butter that was eaten and pooped out and then eaten again and then vomited. It's so disgusting. So don't eat that. Apparently it's a byproduct of beer. Like when they make beer, whatever they don't use to make the beer, they just take the sludge off of it and they make something called Vegemite. That's a side story altogether.
I played Berta, which is basically a very high version of Vegeta's voice.
Let's see, who else? I played, his character was called Zarbon. He was a very delightful character. He hung out with Frieza's crew, if you know what I mean. I'm sure they had wicked parties from planet to planet, if you know what I mean. Or the dance clubs they would visit.
I played this character named Corin, and he's the cat that lives way up in the tree that tries to get the sacred water to him.
I played a lot of characters in Dragon Ball.
Mr. Popo!
I played Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo does not lie.
He was such a funny character to me, and I love how, I don't know if any of you have caught Dragon Ball Z Kai, but in America, when they ran him on TV, they were worried that Mr. Popo, you know, being a sort of a servant character, being a subservient character, and having huge black face and weird lips, that he might be, you know, maybe offensive. They decided to make him purple. Have you seen that at all? Like, look up purple Popo when you get home, and he's like glows purple for some reason. But it's very weird because they must have used some weird process to like replace the color. So it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, so worked on Dragon Ball forever, and then finally, when Dragon Ball had taken a break for a while, they got this show called Yu Yu Hakusho. Have you guys ever watched that show? Yu Yu Hakusho, I played this guy named Kuwabara. His name is Kuwabara, and he has a sword. And he kind of, I don't know, he's like Sort of like dumb Vegeta, if you think about it. And after that, we did a show called Blue Gender, which most of you probably haven't seen. And then it started getting crazy. And some of my favorites that I played since then, I played this guy named
Alex Louis Armstrong, the strong-arm alchemist,
who is a really hysterical character in that show. Like, he's really funny, but would be such an awkward person in real life. Like, because he would be way taller than you, and he would never wear a shirt, ever. Because
he'd just be standing in a random location inside a political office, inside the government building with no shirt on for some reason. She's like, I like to stay comfortable.
Don't understand that. Never understood that. And when you would talk to him, if you were a short person, your head would be about where his junk is all the time. Although he does seem very clean. So clean that he sparkles, actually. Let's see. I play Zoro in an amazing show called One Piece. And Zoro's like the coolest character to play because he's just kind of like my voice, basically. And my job on One Piece is to basically do something amazing with swords. Make up an attack because all of Zoro's attacks sound like he just made them up on the spot. Like 3 sword style, hurricane, water bottle, onigiri, zero. And then he does something amazing, yells at Luffy for doing something stupid, drinks a bunch, and then goes to sleep for like 5 episodes. And then he wakes up and repeats the process. He's by far the easiest, best character to play on the show because you don't have to do that much and you still get to ride the boat, if you know what I mean. Let's see. I'm trying, oh yes.
Jigen.
Oh yes, I play a character named Jigen. Have you guys watched any Lupin the Third at all?
Yes.
Beautiful show. Fujiko is easily one of